Bats are very strange little animals, having hair like a mouse and wings like birds. During the day, they live in the crevices of rocks, in caves, and other dark places. But at night, those bats come out of there. They go forth searching for food. No doubt some of you may have seen a bat flying around. Now, what they're trying to do is they're out there trying to catch insects, typically late at night. Now, the wings of the bat, they don't have any quills, only thin pieces of skin stretched upon a framework of bones. That's all they've got. Besides this, it may be said that while he is a quadruped, he can rise in the air and fly from place to place, almost like a bird. Now, there's a funny fable about the bat, founded upon his double character of being a beast and a bird. In fact, I'll tell you that right now. Here's the fable. An owl was once prowling about when he came across a bat. So he caught him in his claws and was about to eat him when the bat began to squeal terribly and said to the owl, "Please, what do you take me for? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you trying to eat me?" "Why, you are a bird, to be sure," said the owl, "and I am fond of birds. I would lovely dear to break their little bones." "Well," said the bat, "I thought there was some mistake. I am no bird. Don't you see, Mr. Owl, that I have no feathers, that I am covered with hair? I'm like a mouse." Oh, yes. Surely enough," said the owl in great surprise. "I see how it is, really. I took you for a bird, but it appears you are some kind of a mouse. I ate a mouse last night, and it gave me a nightmare. I can't bear to eat any more mice. It makes me sick to even think about it." So the owl let the bat go. Now, the very next night, the bat encountered another great danger. He was snapped up by a big cat, which took him for a mouse, and immediately prepared to eat him. "I beg you, stop. One moment," said the bat. "Pray, Miss Cat, what do you suppose I am?" "You're a mouse, to be sure," said the cat. "Not at all," said the bat, spreading his long wings. "Sure enough," said the cat. "You seem to be a bird. I can see through your feathers. Not very fine feathers. Sometimes I eat birds, but I'm tired of them. I just ate 4 little robin birds the other day, so you may go. But bird or mouse, it will be your best policy to keep out of my way from here on." The meaning of this fable is that a person playing a double part may sometimes escape danger, but he is always like the bat, a creature that is disgusting to everybody and shunned by all. Well, folks, that just about wraps it up. It's almost time to hear that school bell and wait for another day for the McGuffy's readers. Now, some of you out there, having perhaps listened to these McGuffy's readers for the first time, you can see there's a little bit of biblical influence here. These guys said their prayers back in those days, kind of a middle-of-the-road prayer, but also for those of you who have actually read the Bible cover to cover, and I suggest you do, it'll do 2 things. One, it'll increase your vocabulary. It'll increase your IQ. But if you read the Bible cover to cover, there's some different recipes and foods. Now, remember the last story I just said? It talked about how there was a mouse, and the cat says a mouse gave it a nightmare to eat. Well, that's basically based on a biblical concept. No, and I'm just going to read one verse here. So, Isaiah 66:17 talks about guys eating a mouse and basically getting a curse. I'll read it word for word. It says, "They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination, and the mouse, shall be consumed together, says the Lord." That talks about how the Lord knows their thoughts. And then out comes some symbolic imagery where the Lord has to administer a discipline. Anyway, why is the mouse mentioned here? Well, you're going to find in the Bible, it talks a lot about what not to eat. And it's pretty much a known fact. If you don't eat the stuff the Bible tells you not to eat, you're going to get a little bit more healthy. On the other side, if you eat the stuff that the Bible does tell you is good for you, even some of the recipes, there are bread recipes in the Bible. There's things like cucumbers and garlic and sometimes called a Mediterranean salad. If you start eating Mediterranean-style food and a Mediterranean salad, it's pretty well known a year later you're going to feel a lot more healthy. So if you say to yourself, look, let's just say you're a member of a cult and you've been told to stay away from the Bible, or were told don't say prayers or don't read the Bible, or there's nothing. Okay, well, fair enough. But if the Bible can be trusted to tell us not to do things like eat mice, which people do, by the way, there's a couple of movies out there right now has a picture of a guy eating a mouse. God help him. And like that there. So if the Bible tells you don't eat the food, and statistically you're better if you don't, and it tells you go ahead, here's some recipes for you, and those are good recipes, do you think maybe, just maybe, when the Bible tells you why God sent his son down here, the one that got up on that cross, God help him, had to be nailed to the cross, you think maybe it can at least tell you the reason why, so you'll know the reason why he did that? I'm not saying that we're not going to lean on anybody, but, there's a reason why he got on that cross. And bang, bang, bang went the nails in his hands and his feet. And later on, when he rose again and appeared to the disciples, one of them says, I'm not going to believe this. This is too much for me to believe unless I see that wound in his side and the wounds with my hand and the wounds in his hands. Well, a lot of pastors want to change it and say that it really meant wrist or part of the arm. That's not true. Hand means hands. The man wanted to see the nail wounds in Jesus' hands. They put the nail in Jesus' hands. The Bible says hands. But the pardon me pastors out there will say it could be a part of the wrist or the elbow bone. Yeah. Well, anyway, he was crucified on that cross. And then believing in that, when he rose again, doing that for you, taking those nails or the spikes in his hands, that's what you call the born-again experience. That's going to give you, as they say, punch your ticket, or give you a ticket to ride, going to heaven instead of hell, and having a closer freshness with the Lord, a freshness with walking with him and reading that Bible to get a sense of what he's got for you and some suggestions and some requirements he's got. It's a great thing, really. It's not a bad thing. But at the very least, you get a chance, if you're going to read the Bible cover to cover, and to be intellectually honest, you almost have to, don't get a new Bible. If it was published after World War I wouldn't have it here in the studio. Get an old one, a copy of an old one. I mean, get a brand new book. You can get them at Walmart, for heaven's sakes. Get something like, a King James Version. That's 400 years old. Or get a Geneva Bible. That's 500 years old. Or there is one exception called the Webster Bible. What was it? Noah Webster, the guy who wrote a dictionary. He did a great job of making the Bible a little bit easier to read, but still accurate without taking out the work of Christ. Get one of those Bibles and start reading it. And you know what? Do this. Just write down on a piece of paper the foods you're not supposed to eat. And on the other side, write the stuff you are supposed to eat. And when you're done reading that Bible, take the 10 or 15 or 20 best foods you like in the good list, eat them for a while. Make your own biblical recipe. Make your own biblical recipe. Not just for the food you eat, but also the way you say your prayers and your belief system. Well, folks, take care. God bless you. This is Prison News. Oh, boy, we're going to have to ring that prison bell now. But you think of it as a school bell. And till next time, God bless all of you. Thanks for stopping by. School's out.